We are Group 6 and our topic is global migration.
During the Cold War, the world was commonly divided into three major categories based on political and economic status. First, the First World refers to states which have high income and are capitally rich. These were the wealthy, industrialized countries allied with the United States and its capitalist allies, or ito yung mayamang bansa na kalyado ng US na mataas at maunlad ang economic, halimbawa kabilang ang United States, Canada, Japan, and Western European nations. They were known for high-income economies and advanced technologies. Next, the Second World refers to the former communist, socialist, industrial state. This referred to the countries that were part of or aligned with the communist socialist bloc, led by the Soviet Union. These were industrial nations but follow a different political and economic system. Or ito yung mga bansang may sariling sistema. Example include the Soviet Union, China at that time, and its Eastern European countries. The last third world refers to a nation that aligned with either the First World or Second World, which are also called developing countries. These were countries that did not formally align with either the First or Second World, many of them newly independent, less developed, and faced economic challenges. They were often referred to as developing countries. These classifications changed after the Cold War. However, after the Cold War ended, this classification became outdated. The political divide between capitalist and communist blocs no longer define global relations. Today, countries are more commonly described as developed, developing, or undeveloped based on economic indicators like GDP, standard of living, and industrialization rather than their Cold War alliance. Or pagkatapos ng Cold War, nawala na ng bisa ang ganito, hindi nakabatay sa capitalism, communist ang isang bansa. Sa halip, ginamit na ang mga term na developed, maunlad, developing, papaunlad at undeveloped or di gaanong maunlad base sa antas ng pamumuhay sa isang bansa.
The classification of countries into three was changed into two. Developed countries. Countries that have progressive economies and advanced technological infrastructure. Ito po yung mga bansa na nasa kumbaga kung sa first class kasi sila yung may pinaka mga nangungunang technologies na hindi pa na didiskubre ng ibang bansa. Pero sila nadiskubre na nila. And second, developing countries, low-income countries with less developed industrial. Ito po yung bansa na medyo hindi sapat yung pera ng bansa nila kaya hindi nila masyado itong napaunlad din. Medyo mababa din yung sa kanila. These two types of countries emerged to highlights the economic inequalities of state, such as inequalities push people living in developing countries to seek better opportunities in developed countries or sometimes motivates them just to move from one country to another to attain the way of living they are aspiring for. Minsan, doon nga po sa developing countries, yung mga tao doon inaano nila yan, kinukumbinsi nila na makipagsapalaran sa ibang bansa. Like dito sa Philippines, mag-a-abroad para mas mahanap nila and mas makuha nila yung gusto nilang mangyari sa buhay nila. And mas maangat nila yung buhay nila sa pamamagitan ng pakikipagsapalaran sa ibang bansa. Migration. This ongoing movement of people from one country to another. Ito na nga po yun, yung paglipat nila ng ibang bansa para makakuha sila ng mas magandang opportunity and mas makuha nila yung buhay na gusto nila. As a physical and human geographies develop, the world is becoming connectedness of nation, ethnicities, and state is the new trend in the international arena. Through the rising global civilization, the world has turned into multipolar power. Sa pagtutulungan po ng iba't ibang bansa, parang mas napapalakas or mas napapaangat po nila yung bawat isa sa kanila. Ito po yung mga categories ng global civilization. Categories of global civilization: Western, Latin, Islamic, Sinic, Hindu, Buddhism, Orthodox, Japanese, and
Cosmopolitanism literally means the adherence or belief in the word state. It is the ideology that all human beings belong to a single community. Ang cosmopolitanism daw ay pagsunod o paniniwala sa isang bansa. Sinasabi din dito na lahat ng tao ay nabibilang lamang sa isang komunidad. 3 elements of cosmopolitanism. Number 1, individualism. Cosmopolitanism believes that a human being is the ultimate unit of moral concern. Sinasabi dito na ang cosmopolitanism daw ay naniniwala na ang lahat ng tao ay may pangunahing bahagi ng pag-aalala sa kabutihan. Number 2, universality. All human beings are equal moral worth. Lahat daw ng tao ay may kanya-kanyang halaga. Number 3, generality. Implies that human beings have necessary concern for each other. Sinasabi dito na ang bawat tao ay mayroong pag-aalala sa bawat isa. Understanding the concept of cosmopolitanism requires an in-depth understanding of the role of moral integrity among people. Migration can be linked to cosmopolitanism in the way that it enables people to agree on a common moral standard, which is influenced by how different cultures come in contact with one another as people move from one place to another.
Next po is the two types of migration. First is internal. Any movement from one place to another in the same country. So ano nga po yan? Yung example ko po dyan is yung mga nasalanta po ng bagyo. Pinaalis po kayo sa isang lugar tapos ililipat po kayo sa ibang lugar pero same country lang naman. Next po is international migration. A movement from one country to another. Yan po. Yung pag alis nyo po sa isang bansa tapos lilipat doon na kayo titira sa ibang bansa na naman. Yan po yung tinatawag na international migration. Migration is not only rooted in economic aspiration but also in political motivation. This because some people are being oppressed by their government and want to be free from tyrannical politician. So next po is itakil naman po natin ang 3 categories of global migration. First is voluntary economic migration. Root in the pursuit of economic stability.
2, forced displacement. Number 3, refuge crisis. The second and third categories, on the other hand, refer to how people are forced to migrate and could be traced to the factors of state tyranny or corruption or the fear of violence such as civil war. Dito, parang napipilitan silang migrate sa ibang bansa dahil yung kanilang tinitirhan is mayroong gera. So, several effects of migration in particular country. Migration plays a vital role in the social, economic, and political aspect of the Philippines. With a country reliant on labor export, OFWs are seen to be major economic drivers of the country. They affect economic sustainability of the country through their remittances. Another effect of migration in the Philippines is the brain drain. In 2009, the Philippines Institute of Development Studies found out that 50% of employed Filipino immigrants have tertiary education and only 14.5% of them are managers and professionals. 26.6% of them are working as technician and clerks, and the rest are operators known as service workers.